What's up, y'all? I'm back with a 1994 solved murder case. This particular case blew my freaking mind. I looked at this, I'm gonna say, case documentary so many times because of the unbelievable reactions that I saw with my own eyes on TV of how Robert Farrah uh, was toward this whole case. It was just unbelievable. So I wanted to do a story on it, share it with my fan base because it was just unbelievable. Very traumatizing, especially for the children. Um, you might want to listen to this video. You're at home, you're not doing too much, because you are going to miss the details of this case if you are a little busy and you're trying to still listen to this video. I actually wrote this last week. I've been knew about the story prior to. It's just that I didn't put it together and try to post it until today. But this case to me was very unforgettable. It was sad. It was uncalled for, just like any other case. But this one in particular, I guess because it was an actual married couple, these were not strangers to each other, that'll have you like, wow. On November 9th, 1994, 33-year-old Farrah was gunned down at her home in Texas. Robert Farrah, a police officer and the estranged husband of Farrah, had hired two men to kill her, which the motive was related to the unresolved divorce between the couple and the fight for custody of their children. The Farrah's neighbor, Joseph Priestash, acted as a middleman and was recruited by Robert Farrah to plan the murder. The hired gunman, Howard Paul Guidry, was recruited by Joseph Priestash to carry out the murder itself. Farrah, who denied masterminding his wife's murder and maintained his innocence. Farrah and Robert Farrah had three children, two boys and a girl. Farrah filed for divorce from Robert in March of 1993, but they were not scheduled to have a final hearing on the case until the middle of November in 1994. The main reason that caused the divorce, there were issues of Robert's supposed sexual appetite, as it may, and later would say that Robert was angry that those secrets were beginning to merge. Trial testimony showed that Robert Farrah's disturbing erotic desires were well known by his co-workers and acquaintances. Robert Farrah's sexual behaviors were unusual and socially unacceptable. Farrah couldn't take it anymore and immediately filed for divorce. Now, I want to pause right here, guys, before I go on to the next part of this story. This video is not for children. It's for adults. So if you have any children around, please send them to another room or another play area, because who would have thought that Robert Farrah had the sexual desires that he had? And I know it's many people out there thinking, well, what was his sexual desires? What was it? What was it that bad to where this situation occurred or happened? Allegedly, Robert Farrah's sexual desires, he was a sexual deviant. And for some people that don't know what that is, because at one point in time, I didn't know what it was. I wasn't hearing that word often. I wasn't around, people or men, for me, that were to that extent. But being a sexual deviant is allegedly, I'm going to say throughout this whole thing, is when you want the other partner to go to the bathroom on you. And I know you guys are like, girl, what? Yes. It's just very unacceptable behavior that you wouldn't expect out of your other partner or your significant other. You know, that's just stuff that people wouldn't do. But yes, being a sexual defiant is basically doing sexual things that are very out of the ordinary. And going to the bathroom, having another person wanting to go to the bathroom on you was one of Farrah's desires. And Farrah just was tired of it. She couldn't deal with it anymore. Can you imagine how long she dealt with that and then still having to stay focused for their children? His time was up. She was tired of it. She didn't want to be a part of that sexual, deviant, desire type thing. That wasn't her thing. So when it led to her filing for divorce, things just hit the fan. You'd be surprised what people are capable of when things go left, and especially when it's unexpected and it goes left. You'd be surprised. And having someone wanting to go to the bathroom on you is not a good thing. And it's not something people do on a daily basis when they're trying to be intimate. I'm going to put it that way. So, yeah. Yeah, it got a little crazy with this story close to the end. Once everybody found out, okay, what was his sexual desires? You know, you're going to, for the court, and when you're dealing with a trial, you're going to have to give details on the sexual desires. Examples of being a sexual deviant to kind of understand where was Farrah coming from as far as her just being fed up. So Farrah's neighbor Joseph, just coming to think about it now, after Farrah then bribed him with money to kill Farrah, which is his wife, and then Joseph, to me, he does have something to do with the case, of course, because he agreed to do it. But then he gets another guy to participate or be involved to finish off the murder. Farrah, I'm pretty sure Farrah didn't know about Godry. Farrah only asked Price Stash, Joseph, the neighbor. And then the neighbor wants to bring another party, a third party, into this murder case. Farrah's murder case. That was a stupid motive. It was stupid. All because the public was going to or already found out about his unacceptable sexual behaviors. This is all what this is based on. He didn't want people to know about him being a sexual deviant and what he likes and what he prefers. And as soon as the public found out, soon as the court, the trial, the people in that trial, all of them had to know what was going on, including the judge. They had to know the details. They had to know in order to go on with the divorce. And Farrah just couldn't, he didn't want that to happen. But it ended up happening anyway. It ended up getting out anyway. Even after She passed. The details of him being a sexual deviant end up coming out anyway. So either way, people were going to know. Whether Farrah was living or not, it was going to come out. His secrets. By Robert Farrah's secrets. The reactions Robert Farrah had when all this had went down and they're interviewing him. He's on TV, talking. The people are watching him from TV. The people that's interviewing him in public see the same face expression. The happy-go-lucky, the excited, laughing, trying to talk to everybody, acting like he didn't know what was going on. His reactions were so unusual. It was weird. It was deceitful. No one's that happy. No man is that happy when your wife just got killed. A common sense man is not going to be happy, laughing, like nothing is wrong at all when their wife just got killed. So his reactions to me already had let me know that he had something to do with her murder. Farrah's murder. It just didn't make any sense. But Robert Farrah ends up getting played, though. Oh, yeah. I felt like the law played him. How they did it was so out of this world, but he deserved every bit of it. You reap what you sow, and that's what he had to do. All three conspirators were found guilty of capital murder and was sentenced to death in separate trials. Robert Farrah was executed by lethal injection on January 10th, 2023 after his appeals failed. Price Stash died in 2025 before his execution could be carried out. Guidry remains on death row at the Allen Polunsky unit. So I'm going to explain how I felt like the law played Robert Farrah. He thought he could outsmart the law. So they had Robert thinking he can appeal, he was going to get out, people were going to be working with him to try to see if he can get out. His main focus was just getting out of prison. His main focus was not on where his kids going to go, what he has done to traumatize his kids, nothing. He wasn't even thinking about Farrah, nothing. He was just only thinking about getting out of jail, and the law saw that. So how they played him, Robert Farrah, was thinking he could get out of jail, doing all these appeals for so many years, thinking he could possibly get out of jail. And every time he tried to appeal, it failed. And the very last appeal, the very last one, because at this point, okay, how many appeals y'all gonna do? This man been on death row for a while now. The case happened in 1993, 94. 2023 at the time. They had to do something. They couldn't just have him sitting there. His last appeal, he thought he was getting out. And as soon as they denied it, it was just like a wham. Like a hit in the face for that. Like, oh man, I went through all of this for so many years and I still couldn't get out. Prime example of a narcissist. I don't know what made Robert Farrah think that he was going to get out of jail. Especially with those reactions. As happy as he was, and his wife had just got murdered. No. I knew he had did it then when I saw little interviews on TV when I was looking at the documentary of the case. I knew he had did it then when he was just too happy-go-lucky. Hey, man, your wife just died. Why are you this happy? So, yeah, you reap what you sow. Robert Farrah prime example. You reap what you sow, and karma definitely came around for him. Rest in peace to Farrah. You know. And I had seen an update on that case. Rest in peace to Farrah's father, too. She had a close family. You know, Farrah was around a very wholesome family, and they did a lot of traveling, it seemed like, back in her younger days. You know, I just feel very bad for the children. You know, the children is living with the grandparents, with a grandmother now, but they're much older, so I'm pretty sure they have their own, you know, place and lifestyle now. They're much older, because again, this happened in 1994. But at one point, yes, the grandparents did have custody of the children when they were small. When Robert Farrah and their mom was murdered, all this stuff was going on. The kids had to be with the grandparents, but still, that's a lot. You know, Robert Farrah destroyed his family, destroyed his life, destroyed his wife's life, destroyed his children, just destroyed his family because of his sexual, unusual behavior that he didn't want to get out. People will kill you for anything. That's what I learned. They're capable of doing anything, and some people are out in this world that will kill you for anything. Kill you if things don't go right. Kill you if you say something out to the public that they don't want you to know, that they don't want the people to know about them. Many things happen. You know, you got to be careful out here in this world. You guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I put a lot of time and effort into this video. You know, I think this story will always stick with me, even though I absolutely don't know any of these people. But the story behind this case, this murder case, was just unbelievable. And I just couldn't believe that Robert thought he was going to get away with killing his wife, hiring two men. I'm sorry, only hiring one. But then once Joseph probably talked to Farrah, Robert was like, hey, I got another guy that'll finish it off. Yeah. So a 2-man hire, because you know, Robert didn't want people to know about his sexual deviant behaviors. You know. And he didn't want Farrah to have custody of those children, not the whole custody, because he probably thought, I'm pretty sure Robert probably thought, oh, he's going to have to pay so much money. He's going to have to pay child support. My finances are going to change, you know. All of that in one, all that balled into one. He ruined his life, ruined his children's life, and now look. But I'm pretty sure his children are doing well. I haven't did an update on them, but I'm pretty sure they're doing well. But you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back. You know, I'll be coming out with some more stuff. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about this and get this story out the way, because this story was crazy to me. I just couldn't believe it.